Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. So one of my students had reached out to me this past week and asking me to look at a video that was on a YouTube channel, and it was about Gnostic teachings and the teaching of the Demiurge. For those of you who don't know, and although there is a chapter 3 in my book talks about the Demiurge and two other fallen celestial entities that are interfering or somehow consciously or unconsciously co-creating our ascension. The Demiurge is an entity that the Gnostic call the, the architect of the universe, or it's a false creator. The best way to describe this being is that he is a celestial being who's trying to usurp the true role that God is really playing by pretending to be God and creating a kingdom. In the biblical term, the Demiurge is equated to Lucifer as the king of the world. And in biblical term, Lucifer's issue was not that he refused to bow down to men, to the creation of men. His issue was pride. He thought he was equal to God and created a kingdom, an illusion. And that kingdom is made of a trap for humanity, a trap for beings who have descended so that they could not find their way back into light. And the trap is made of mirrors, because in this instance, he cannot emanate or create anything, but he's capable of, within our own soul, scan and figure out our desire and what we want and keep us entrapped in a story. And it's always related to a narrative or story that we have deep in our soul about what ascension and what light looks like. And then he keeps feeding the story and keep feeding the story by we keep reflecting it back and forth, and creating a gigantic illusion that can keep you trapped for centuries and eons without you actually finding what ascension and what true light looks like. Now, there are other entities as well. As I said, chapter 3 in my book to come will talk about these three entities. There's also the adversary, or the accuser, as it's called often in sacred literatures, holy books. The accuser is Ha-Satan, as it was presented in the book of Job, as a celestial being that will begin to project to you the sense of being an imposter and not deserving the ascendance and the light that you seek, and that it projects back to you your own flaws, your trauma, your incompleteness, making you feel incompetent and undeserving of ascension and of light. When the true ascension process begins, meaning when you're really trying to ascend and you're getting close to it, the first test is the dweller on the threshold, or the test of the accuser, where there's a projection of all of the parts of yourself that you think are twisted or not correct or incomplete or not worthy of being godly, projected back to you as a way to make you feel undeserving of ascension in light, unworthy. So thus the imposter syndrome. However, the demiurge is something else. The demiurge is by a different entity In the Gnostic teaching, they call him the Demiurge, but he really is, it's Luciferian. And he presents a different test. And that test is the final test. And it's the test of the false light. And it presents itself in multiple ways. One of the ways in which it presents itself is that it begins to make you feel, as you get closer and closer to ascension, and more power and higher virtue and light begin to touch you, it begins to reflect the light and warp it, and to make you feel that you're already ascended and that you're superior and better than other people because you're so elevated, and these people are so dense and I can't be with them because I'm so elevated. A lot of time it manifests as if I am so blessed and I'm so highly favored by God, and I'm so blessed and I'm so superior. God is giving me all of these things, and I'm so illumined. I have so much light around me. I am so special. I'm so extraordinary. I'm so refined. And in that, the moment you're beginning to believe in that narrative, you're under that false luminosity. It's not the real ascension. It's a very, very, you would think, there is a quote in that documentary that I wrote down, and it's very powerful. The Demiurge doesn't create darkness. It creates imitation light. No one willingly kneels before shadows. It therefore creates imitation light. In the Gnostic teaching, the way it's done, they have a term for it in Gnostic teaching. They call it simulacrum. It looks like the real thing, but it is not. It's simulacrum. So one has to be very careful that, and it's typically related to a narrative. You thinking that you're better. It's an ego trap. It's a huge ego trap. You thinking that you're superior, you're ascended, you're talking to the angel or the masters, and they are so close to you, and you're already elevated. I meet so many people all the time in the light community that are always telling me, I already exist. I'm communicating to masters of in the ninth dimension. I'm already ascended. I'm already elevated. I'm already this. I'm already that. And all the higher dimensional masters are talking to me. That's false luminosity. And they're walking around like they are completely superior. I shared this in a previous class years ago when I was in college. In one of my literature class, we studied this Aristophanes, a Greek playwright, wrote this short little play, a comedy actually, called The Clouds. And it's about, and the play opens with all of these people who were had these hammock or hanging seats hanging from the ceiling, and they were laying in them thinking that they were not touching the ground, and they were so elevated. It's very funny. But at the time, I was like, what is it, 20 years old? When I was going to the mystery schools at the time, I knew people that were behaving that way. They were walking around with these long robes, flowing garment, thinking that they are goddesses and they are already ascended and they are talking to the masters, and yet their life is completely in chaos. But they feel energetically that they are already ascended and they are filled with luminosity. It's imitation light. It's simulacrum. It's not the real deal. And it's very few people pass this test because you're convinced that the luminosity that you're seeing is the real thing. You're completely convinced. And it takes a very specific kind of mindset for you to pass the test. And I've shared this many times with you before. You have to witness The luminosity, the feeling, the sensation, and everything it's created around you without having attachment to the light or the sensation it's creating. You just witness it as you're observing it from a distance. And as you observe it more and more from a distance, you will disconnect to the illusion, and the demiurge will lose its power. And then you will begin to actually approach true light and true ascension. It's a very tender path because it's typically connected to a very specific, and because it's skin or soul, it's connected to your own, it knows your ego and your weaknesses. And it will customize a narrative to tell you that you're so connected to light and to ascension, and you're so elevated and you're so superior and all of that, and you're so polluted and you're so advanced and you're so this and you're so that. And trust me on that, if this is the kind of feedback that you're getting, it's not ascension. It's simulacrum. You need to sit down. The highest state of ascension that anyone can achieve is to be a witness. Observe without having any objection. And in the Gnostic teaching, they keep saying all the time, you don't resist the demiurge when you're in that state by trying to say, I cast thee behind me. This is not the way you do it. The way you do it is that you observe it, you witness it. And then you ask yourself critical queries and questions. Is my ego being flattered in this? Am I feeling superior because of this? I used to have these queries, and these queries all the time, which was the following. Is what I am perceiving now, again, making me feel, is flattering my ego? Because I know so many people in the light community that keeps telling me all the time how blessed they are, and how God is favoring them and they are so highly favored. In the church, you hear that all the time. I am blessed and highly favored. And the more that narrative continues, the more you begin to realize, wait a minute, something else is there. Because when you're looking at the person from an outside looking in, you realize there are lots of other flaws in their life at this moment. If they were truly that blessed and that highly favored, a lot of the problem that they have, they wouldn't be experiencing them. Something else is creating a mirror, a series of illusion around them. And we need to be very aware of that fine line and understand that the most superior level of ascension is to simply be that witness. And the way the Gnostics teach us how to do it is that you see the light. You don't remember when we were doing the Archon teachings years ago. One of the things I used to tell you during the meditation to do with the Archon is to say, I see you and I have my eyes fixed on you. You do the same thing with the Demiurge. You see the illusion, you see what they are doing, and you witness it. You don't judge it, you don't run away, you don't become fearful. You simply witness it. You stand in your position, quiet, silent, still, and you witness it. And as the days and the weeks and the months go witnessing all of this, it will lose its grip because the illusion will begin to fade away. And the true light of ascension will show up behind it. And by the way, any questions, any comments so far? Because the true light of ascension, when it shows up, is something else. It is actually you're going to experience when you initially get to the true light of what ascension feels like. It's emptiness. And by the way, this was the heresy of the Gnostics and the Cathar during the First Crusade. And this is the heresy that King Louis, not King Louis, Charlemagne went in the south of France, in the area of France called Languedoc, and they slaughtered all of the Christian and the Cathar. The Christian and the Cathar were cohabitating. They used the cross. Their church looked exactly like Christian church, but their belief was that the true light of God showed up in that emptiness. And the church went insane because they believed that it only came through the Savior, the Redeemer, which was Jesus Christ. And their belief system clashed with the Cathar. The Cathar thought that Christ was a great prophet, a great teacher. Their Christian things was meshed in their teaching, but they also were very aware of the Demiurge. And their teaching was about staying in that stillness, witnessing everything, staying quiet, staying silent. And at some point you break through and you enter into this emptiness. And I'll tell you a further story. When the knights were approaching Languedoc, they couldn't tell who were Christian or the Cathar. The Cathar did not wear a cross or uniform. Everybody in Languedoc in that entire region looked exactly the same because they cohabitated with each other. They went to the market, the dog, their families, they married, and one of the knights asked the Pope at the time, how do we differentiate between who's Cathar, who's Christian, who's Cathar? And the Pope said, kill them all and God would separate them. And that entire area was slaughtered. Everyone. They left no one alive, including the children. So, any questions, any comments so far? I'm sorry. Let me explain to you what I mean by emptiness, because that's the next question that should come to your mind. Right now, when we do a deep meditation or deep connection, and sometimes even you by yourself doing a deep meditation, you have had experiences where you think you pass out. You go somewhere else where you don't remember anything. That's you entering the emptiness. That's the true light. The narrative of meeting angels and ascended masters and meeting all of these people are nice, but they can easily be corrupted by the Demiurge, because the Demiurge is taking it from your own memories of what the light was formerly to you before you descended. And it's reflecting it back to you to keep you trapped and telling you you're meeting all of these great people. When in fact, the way the real ascended enlightenment really show up in Buddhism. In Buddhism, it's called dharmata. They call it the essence of being. And that essence of being shows up as complete silence and rest. And it is extremely, now initially when you're dropping into it, because it's such a drastic difference from being in the trap of the Demiurge, you have to go through a bardo, a transition or a gap, an intermediary state. And typically when you go to bardo and you're not ready for it, you black out. You pass out. And then you think you fall asleep. This is the same thing that happened to us when we awake and we enter a dream. We don't remember how the dream began. We black out because we change state of awareness. But with proper training, and this is the reason why the beauty in the torsion field and guardian lines of the extraterrestrial guardian lines of light and the teaching of Melchizedek, the order of the Melchizedek order of neutrality, it's that every time you do the torsion field, you're getting greater and greater from being just unconscious tendency floating in emptiness to being now consciously immortal, which means you will enter into dharmata, into that emptiness conscious. And when you enter in that dharmata, in that emptiness conscious, it is an experience that you will never forget. It's okay. The first time it happened, it's extremely disorienting because you don't know where you are. I call it the white space, but it is not, what's the word? It is not linear light. Like when you're looking at the sun has a source, it comes above you and it projects light toward you. When you enter dharmata, or that emptiness, you have a sense of yourself, of being aware of you exist, and there is light enveloping you all around. There is not one place where you don't see whiteness around you, enveloping you. It's not directional light. That's the difference. And the first thing you notice is that everything is quiet. It took me weeks and months to figure out where I was because there is no up, there is no down, there is no front, there is no back. I don't even have a sense that I have a body. All I know is that I exist. Okay? All I know is that I am in this non-directional luminosity, I suppose, but it's not the light that you and I see. It's very hard to explain. It's not a directional light that's going to blind you. It feels something that's enveloping me everywhere. And it's immense, it's infinite. And it's non-directional. And I'm very disoriented. And moreover, I feel I have a great sense of like it took me, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 months before I realized, oh my God, when I'm in there, I have no thoughts. It took me a long time to realize this. I have no thought. And then slowly thereafter, I begin to realize, my God, not only is it stillness, and there are no thoughts, but I am also completely at rest. Because the monkey mind, all of that, there is no story, there's no narrative. There is no narrative. There is nothing that I have to do or not do. All of that is gone. Because I have no attachment to the stories, that's the problem with the story. You have an attachment of things you need to do, and this you have to do that before you do this and that or the other. When you enter in that in the Dharma, there is no attachment to anything. All of you have had that experience where you feel like you passed out. Oh, I think I fell asleep, I passed out. You did not pass out. You went to a bardo into the true light, into Dharmata. and you don't remember what happened in Dharmata because you're still now unconscious tendency floating in emptiness. But the more you do the torsion field, the easier it will be for you to transit at time. At the end of all 12 torsion field being done, all of a sudden you're in there and you realize I'm disoriented and I'm in this vast and infinite place and I don't know how to describe it. Because it's a form of existence that's unlike anything that we know. And in the Gnostic teaching, they talk about gnosis or knowing as being us remembering. Any questions, any comments?
I would just say that in my experience, very often I have an agenda. I have a search for answers, a search for direction. But when I do just exist in that space, it is a place of rest. It is a place of release and surrender without any thought or agenda. But very often I'm looking for things that I need to change, things that I need um, to recognize so I can work on them. And I guess I ought to do more of the other, of just being.
May I make a suggestion?
Please.
Try for a week or two to go into that space and just witness it. Don't ask any question. Don't try to solve anything or resolve anything. Just witness it. You will gain a lot more. And if that space wants to share something with you, it will wash over you automatically. It is way more intelligent than you are.
What would be your, excuse me, your idea of, I'm so sorry, the amount of time that would be ideal? I mean, and that's not the right word, but I mean, 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour, hour and a half.
I don't know because time doesn't operate the same way in that space.
I don't have a lot of time.
I understand that. I understand. And so a lot of time you spend 10 minutes, it feels like you were there for 2 hours.
Okay, I understand.
Do you
Okay.
understand? Other times you were there for an hour, it feels like you were there for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you understand what I'm saying? I don't know how to answer this because time and space operate completely differently because when you enter there, you're outside of time and space. Because time and space is a construct controlled by the Demiurge. All of that is controlled by the Demiurge. Everything that we're going through, you see what's happening in the world right now with all of the social, political, all of it is controlled by the Demiurge. Everything. And it's driving the narrative to keep us bound in the story. Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what this person said? It's a way to keep us entrapped.
I don't get involved with any of that, but but I understand what you're saying, so I will give that a try.
Yeah. Well, I try not to get involved, Janice, but I'll be honest with you, I don't exist in a vacuum. Somebody I know is involved and they're going to come and bring that stuff to me.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And all of a sudden, it triggers something in me.
Yeah.
I'm not in a monastery somewhere, dissociated from everything else.
Easy enough to do, yes.
You know what I'm saying? So somebody's gonna say something, and did you hear what, even though I say I don't want to hear it, blah blah blah, but it goes in, and
I
then it's driving something, and the monkey mind start going around. So my suggestion as you go into that space, enjoy the rest. Try it for 2 weeks and see if you don't get more out of it.
okay.
I know you will. I guarantee you will. And as much as a witness as you are, and you know what happened? When you're a witness like this, you create unusual synchronicities that are not accident. And again, it's the first thing I do is the torsion field, the Guardian Alliance or like torsion field. When that is done and then the torsion field is finished, I sit at the end and I allow however the space, that volume shows up for me, I allow it and I sit in the expanse because it's such a different space to be in. It's so disorienting that I sit in awe and in wonder of it. And I know at times if somebody was looking at me from the outside, my head tilt to one side to another because it's so immense. I'm trying to understand it. Now it is, although I call it emptiness, it is not empty. It's not a nihilistic void. There are all kind of benevolent sensation that feels like they are wave of fluid that are moving through them. And I don't have the vocabulary to explain it, nor do I understand them fully. Okay? At the moment, I feel all kinds of things or moving about me. And I keep trying to comprehend, and I'm enjoying the fact that finally my consciousness is at rest. I don't need to be chasing anything, including my own tail. I am at rest.
Well, that means you're also, the illusion of separateness is gone. So you have that connected unity, inseparable unity, which allows for much more to, as you were saying, much more to be revealed in subtle ways, perhaps, than try to control it.
The point is that you have to realize that that entire white volume, let's call it that. I'm saying space because it's the wrong vocabulary, because I don't have any other way to describe it, because it's not space, because we
Yeah.
know that time space is an illusion. It's not that, it's something else.
Mhm.
But whatever that is, that place is, it is actually the totality of who I am.
Mm.
I'm looking at myself. And I have to tell you, even though intellectually I know I should completely identify with that and become indivisible from it, to date, I'm having problem crossing that boundary and letting myself identify completely with it. Because I still see myself as being small and separated from it. Like I am in this immense volume. I am inside infinity times infinity.
When we do the torsion field and we get up to the uh, 15th dimension, the 12th
God.
uh,
Mhm.
guardian, and we have now gone through all of the chakras of each of those different dimensions with the expanse of our existence, of our being, is partly what you're talking about, I think, then.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because I usually enter that emptiness, that luminosity, that strange space after I've completed the torsion field.
Torture field, right.
And then when you're in there, just enjoy for a moment the free space, the liberation. And simply, all you have to do is see it and witness it. And then what you think were problems or answers and questions that you need to answer, their storyline that are not really the root of the problem.
Oh, that's interesting, yes.
They are not the root of the problem. And when you sit in that space long enough, it will the volume will take you to the root and will reveal it. Every once in a while, it speaks to me. It tells me things, but I typically don't solicit them. It just arrived. As a matter of fact, everything that I'm teaching you came from that space. And I usually don't solicit that. I just go into it and I sit while I'm enjoying it like this, and then something just wash over me. One of the waves comes in, and then a packet of information comes in.
I understand. And I think that is a beautiful place to be, space or place, whatever we're calling it, where you relinquish the egoic mind of
Yes.
trying to make it work and control it and so on. Yeah, feels like the root, the anchor, the root, whatever, feeling you've reached home and there's no other way to get to the answers you're looking for than to let go of them, I guess.
You see, the issue is this. Seeking ascension becomes an attachment.
Oh, yes.
Okay?
That's
And in order for you to ascend, you have to be non-attached to everything,
right.
including seeking ascension.
That's interesting.
And that final test is the test of you seeking ascension. And this is where the trap closes. The Demiurge knows this and it funnels you into and giving you all this illusion of light and this stuff, and they're all imitation light. They are not, they're simulacrum. They are not real.
Thank you.
It's very subtle, but it's so critical. And again, very few people will pass this test. Because a lot of people that I know, I can 95, if not more, % of the people in the light community or that are doing real work or seeking ascension and illumination, and they are right there. They can't pass that threshold of being non-attached to seeking ascension. And just witness everything. And the moment you begin to witness everything, all the illusions will begin to fade away. It's like in the movie The Matrix, when you're seeing the world and all of a sudden all the codes drop and you see the codes that are behind it.
Good image. Thank you.
So the torsion field becomes the way because the Melchizedek order of neutrality is trying to teach us to be non-attached to everything and to be neutral to everything else that surrounds us. And as we keep practicing it over and over and over again, I'm asking you to do it do the torsion field in some version 3 times a day. Not the long version with my recording, but at least you can do 12 breaths. And I keep telling you over and over again, when you sit in your car, before you start moving the car and you're warming up your car, do the torsion field. Okay? Do the torsion field to allow the protection, because giving the way how polarized the world is right now, the narrative again that can polarize you and make you run and make you flee, make you afraid of this, make you and that or the other. All of that is a way to capture your consciousness and make you believe, be attached to the world that the Demiurge is creating. And in order for you to bypass all of this, you keep doing the torsion field to become neutral in all parts of your body. And that neutrality will take you outside into something else and will create these unusual synchronicities. It was in this other class last week where one of my students was describing a very specific instance, and I will share it with you. She doesn't mind me sharing it, where she's working at an agency. They called her in asking her to pick up a phone to have a medical done. She goes to have the medical done, and she's been thinking about her doctor anyway. She wanted to go to a primary care doctor. And then she did the torsion field right before she left. She arrived at the agency and she's looking at the phone in her hand. And she said, okay, I have to call my doctor. And as she says, I have to call my doctor, the phone rang. Unsolicited, without her saying anything. The doctor calls her and says to her, you have to come in for an appointment. And she said, oh my God, I was just about to call you. Make me an appointment, the earliest appointment that you can. I'm coming right away. Or sometime the torsion field will warp time and space for you. You may think that I have plenty of time. I have like 2 hours in front of me and I can do this, that, or the other before I go take care of that of an appointment. All of a sudden, it seems like a blank 10 minutes goes by. It's time for you to leave. And the reason the torsion field does this for us is because if you had gone to run the previous the previous errands that you were supposed to run, you would have gotten caught into something. And the torsion field is trying to protect you and guide you so you don't go to the wrong place at the wrong time. Any thought that you present inside the torsion field, when the torsion field is done correctly, any thought you present in the torsion field manifests. I'm not saying will manifest. I'm saying in the present, manifest. Be aware, as I said before to Janice, that seeking ascension, seeking healing, seeking whatever it is still an attachment. And when the torsion field is complete and you're in that space knows better what you want. At some point, your past query and desires will go into that blessed field. And the blessed field will respond and your problem will be solved like it was for this student instantaneously. Something will simply snap and will be solved. Whether it is a healing, whether it is a financial situation, whether it is whatever it may be, whether it's peace of mind, whether it is full, complete ascendance, it will be solved. The Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree in that state for like 48 days before he achieved illumination, just witnessing himself. Without an agenda. And by the end of it, he became illumined. So we have to be very aware of the quality of, again, the torsion field is something quite extraordinary, as a technique to allow us to elevate our level of consciousness into the highest level. I've sent you multiple recordings on how to do this. You are able, of course, to follow the recording maybe once. I'm asking you to do this at least 3 times a day. If you do this the way I'm asking you to do it, maybe the long version in the morning when you have, or in the evening when you have time, and then the other 2 times would be, let's say you're about to step out in your car, you turn on the key while the car is warming up, you just close your eyes, 12 breath, you do the torsion field. Okay? And then later on, while you're walking somewhere or whatever, as you're walking and still looking around you, you're in deep contemplation, you take a deep breath from the core of the earth, you do the torsion field again. As you do this, you're going to connect. You're going to create a very specific structure that's going to take you from 3D from the core of the earth into 3D, all the way inside that emptiness, that volume where true ascension occurs. And let yourself be disconnected and non-attached to all kind of narrative and story. Non-attached to your ego. You're not better, you're not superior because you're blessed, you have all these things. You're the trauma, the people in your family, the people who seem to be your tormentors, just disconnect all of it. And remain in that space and keep witnessing it. It may seem weird and counterintuitive. I'm a curious person. So the few times that I've entered that space, I just wanted to know what was in that space. And I was so curious that I just sat trying to explore it, asking myself, what am I feeling? Where am I? What kind of space is this? And I kept going back because I so thoroughly enjoyed the rest. The monkey mind was not there. I didn't have to do anything. I felt benevolence all around me. I felt goodness all around me, and I didn't have to do anything. And the more time I spent in there, the more information I received. I usually have a notepad next to me because something eventually will drop, unsolicited. Some information will drop in. We call this a download in our lexicon, but some information will show up. A deeper insight, a different way, an adjustment in consciousness that I need to make, an answer to something, or a realization of a surrender, a release of some kind. Or sometimes it literally will show up in a case of you having a money problem. I remember one time this happened to me. I had a problem with the mortgage and everything else. Somebody showed up the next morning. I didn't ask for this. The universe knew what I want, what I needed, because I had spent all the money in renovation. I didn't have money for the mortgage. Somebody come the next day with the exact amount, a check as a gift, with a card showing it to me and said, here, this is for you. God told me to give this to you. That place is way more intelligent than all of us. It knows what you need, and it can create wave function collapse to allow things to align so that it will precipitate and come to you in the most unexpected and miraculous ways. Now, we had spoken a few weeks ago about how to do healing. On Wednesday, we're going to do the connection on the three-eye atlas. It's us going as a group body. This is all well and good. What about us and the healing that needs to happen in us for us to ascend? What about us receiving blessings? And that's why I'm having this conversation with you. We have to learn how to apply these methods internally for ourselves so that we can receive our own blessing and freedom and liberation. Liberation from financial worries, liberation from emotional, the healing of all of our trauma, of all of our brokenness. And more importantly, true ascendance. I remember years ago, I was talking to somebody about another teacher healer, and uh, 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 and there was a lot of information about this person. This person is believing. I've met so many people who are always talking, and again, this is an indication that they are facing imitation light or false luminosity. People who are walking around or self-proclaimed ascended masters or calling themselves ascended masters, trust me, if this is what you see around you, trust me, they are not ascended. They may believe that they are, but they are not. No one that's really ascended will say this. It's like me walking into a room and telling everybody I'm a man. It's self-evident. You don't need to say this. If you're ascended, everyone will see it. And in this instance, I remember I was talking to another friend of mine, and there were many of us, a small group. We were talking, and they were talking about this teacher, and then my other friend, who's very intuitive, said this man said this about himself and blah blah blah, and his connection to this energy and that energy, and he can do this, and then she said something very simple, and it clicked so deeply inside of me. She said, "Well, this is the story he's telling himself." And it clicked, and I remember the Demiurge immediately. Because the Demiurge drive these stories. It drives them. I had a coffee about 3 months ago with a friend of mine, and she used to come to the classes every once in a while, sporadically. She's a good person, and she followed this other teacher, and she was talking about her and her teachings and all of that. It's a very complex teaching, nuanced and filled with information and sophistication, but very frontal lobe, very intellectual, and very quasi spiritually and spiritual and scientific. A lot of information about races and fallen energies and that or the other, and this and that, and very complex. And I remember she was asking me, what do you think about her and her teaching? What do you think about this, that, or the other? What do you think? She says this, that, or the other, that. And then it was long and complex. And I said something very simple in response. Obviously, she's getting the information from somewhere, but I can tell you that this is too complex to be of God. When I enter that space, everything is simple and elegant. When something is that complex and that complicated, and this is a hybrid, this and that one, this, and the genetic, so many DNA, that, and that, it's so complex, it is not of God. This is something, there is definitely an intelligence creating it, but it is not of God. And I can recognize the people who talk in that kind of language. I can see them easily. And I'm going to add something else. The people in that community are emotionally out of control because they do no emotional intelligence work. They connect to power and they can manifest all kinds of things. I'm not denying this. They connect to power and they can manifest all kinds of things. But the thing that I want to, the caveat, the thing I want to put in there is the following. When I look at their life, even the life of the leader, none of them are socially or emotionally intelligent enough to be ascended beings. Where the rubber meets the road for any teachers that you're examining, look at their personal life. How do they treat their followers and how they treat their family members? If there is abuse of any kind in there, they are not ascended. Because what an ascended does is that it harms no one. Not a fly, no one. And I was sharing this with my friend I was having coffee with, and she said, "You're right, Pierre. There are rumors that are going around about this person in the group doing that, that person, that." I'm like, I don't have no comments. I don't know this person. I didn't witness any of these abuse. Those are alleged. It doesn't matter to me. I don't have a stake in this, but I'm making a general comment. So be aware of this and know that the teaching you're being given, it may appear simple. People are going to throw or send you all kinds of videos and share all kinds of things and tell you. Very recently, somebody else had sent me 3 videos that were related to that teacher I was telling you about and the information. What about this, that, or the other? And I had to have a small conversation, pull them aside and say, look, I think it's very cerebral and very frontal lobe. It connects. I did do work on DNA reconstruction. There is a DNA stuff that they're doing. I understand that. But when I enter that space, none of that complexity is there. Everything becomes simple. It's like everything becomes a surrender and an exhale. There is no battle. And by the way, that group, they battle a lot. There's a lot of battling. They're all warriors in their hand, and they're talking about, reptilian battle and celestial battle, this and this, that. No, no, no. God is not in it. So we need to be very aware and discerning in that we just have to witness. Again, all of us must go through this. This is the final test before true ascension occurs. And right now, with everything that's happening in the world, that test is extremely loud because the Demiurge is realizing it's losing control. It's orchestrating a global chaos to trap us and keep us connected to the narrative and the story, instead of trying to enter the stillness and the rest of Dharmata. So be aware of this and be aware of the fact that you can achieve your liberation in simpler ways. Just witness. You cannot exist in a vacuum around, no matter how much you insulate yourself from what's happening in the media, what's happening in the world, how everyone will tell you, did you hear what happened? Did you hear blah, blah, blah? The prices are going higher because of this, that, whatever it is, it's going to touch you in some ways. But you have to keep doing your torsion field so that you can become neutral to all of it, at least 3 times a day, and then enter into the rest of God and the stillness. And just witness the stillness for whatever, how long it feels that you have to remain in there. And then all these waves of knowing will drop on you. Because this is the weird things about the stillness, is that initially when you enter it, it feels that you're at rest and there's no sound, everything is silent, everything is muted. If anything, I hear a pitch in the background, particularly when you don't have sweet noise around you. If you're blessed to be in a place where you can hear pitch, because everything becomes extremely silent, extremely still. There's a pitch, and then this kind of like almost like a white noise in the background, and then suddenly you begin, and you're experiencing the volume at the same time, and then all of a sudden you realize that it is not a void. Because at moment, let's say a week or 2 of going to that space, suddenly, unsolicited, something wash over you. An answer to a query that may have been in the background for a week or 2, and the answer shows up. Or the freedom or the liberation for it just unknot and opens up. It was in that space at one time when I thought I was disconnected to God, that I did a silent prayer in that volume. And then literally, I felt the right hand of somebody touching that shoulder. I could feel the hand and the finger touching my shoulder and squeezing me slightly. And I heard a voice said, oh my God, I'm going to cry. Oh. Oh. I have never left you. Oh. It was so profound. It created such profound healing inside of me because I had felt disconnected. I could feel the hand squeeze me like a father to a son, just squeezing me slightly. And I heard the voice said to me, I have never left you. And it healed me so profoundly. And again, I didn't go in there seeking necessarily that. I went in there to enjoy the rest. But I had felt disconnected for a while. And the blessed field wanted me to heal. In your daily activity, if you do the torsion field, I'm asking you to do it. What's going to happen is that you, again, weird synchronicities that are not accident, intentions, silent intentions that you have in your consciousness Like I was sharing with my other student who said, I need to call my doctor. And as she's looking at the form and thinking, I need to call my doctor, the doctor call. You need to come in for an appointment. And she was like, oh my God, I was just going to call you. That's true manifestation. Any true heartfelt intention that's pure, that's put in the torsion field, manifests. And this is true also of negative intention. So while you are doing the torsion field, this is why you need to stay away from fear or any fear mongering thoughts and activity, and do not take anything personally. Become neutral to everything, become detached to what everyone is saying. Just be distant from it, like you're floating above it or you're far away from it. Because if you have fear, it will bring the fear to you. Any questions or comments? All right, let's take a 5 minute break, and then in the back end, we'll do our closing meditation. 5 minutes. Take a very deep and slow breath. And as you inhale and exhale deeply and slowly, allow the universal life force that permeates everything to enter into your lungs. Keep breathing deeply and slowly. And let your soul and your awareness drop in the middle of your chest. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Please forgive me. I love you. And I let go. Let your mind and your heart sync with each other. And notice what you noticed. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. And the guardian alliance of light approach you. offering to gift you. They are shields of light and protection, and a band of neutrality. If you are ready to accept this gift at this time, answer affirmatively. And let the energy of the first guardian begin in the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving upward to the bottom of your feet, passing in your core, exiting outside of your head, and going into the top of the fourth dimensional body, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the second guardian, coming down from the top of the fifth dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through your central axis, exiting the bottom of your feet, and going into the core of the earth, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts down the energy of the third guardian, coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving upward, passing through your central axis and core, exiting outside of your head into the top of the sixth dimensional body, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts down the energy of the fourth guardian, coming in from the top of the seventh dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through you, exiting at the bottom of your feet into the core of the earth, and creating all around you A torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the fifth guardian, counter-rotating, passing through the bottom of your feet, moving through your central axis, exiting outside of your head, and going into the top of the eighth dimensional body and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts now the energy of the sixth guardian, coming in from the top of the ninth dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through your central axis, going to the bottom of your feet and into the core of the earth, while creating all around you. A torsion field of light and neutrality. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts now the energy of the seventh guardian, counter-rotating, coming in from the core of the earth, moving through the bottom of your feet, passing through you, exiting outside of your head and exiting the top of the 10th dimensional body, while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts down the energy of the eighth guardian, coming in from the top of the 11th dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through your core, and exiting into the core of the earth, while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts down the energy of the night guardian, counter-rotating, passing through the bottom of your feet, moving upward through your core, exiting at the top of the 12-dimensional body, and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts down the energy of the 10th guardian, cascading down from the top of the 13th dimensional body, passing through your core, going into the bottom of your feet and into the core of the earth, rotating clockwise and creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the bottom of your feet extends and it attracts down the energy of the 11th guardian, coming in from the core of the earth, counter-rotating, moving upwards through the bottom of your feet, passing through your central axis, exiting outside of your head and going into the top of the 14th dimensional body, while creating all around you a torsion field of neutrality. The axis at the top of your head extends and it attracts down the energy of the 12th and final guardian, coming in from the top of the 15th dimensional body, rotating clockwise, passing through your central axis, going into the bottom of your feet and into the core of the earth, while creating all around you the torsion field of neutrality. observe the 12 counter-rotating axes that are spinning, making you indivisible with the rest of God. Deep and profound reverence for the gift received. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Hosanna into the highest. Take a very deep and slow breath. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Pierre. Thank you.
You're welcome. One thought that crossed my mind about that space as well. The rest is so profound, it's so deep when you go in it that you almost become catatonic. You don't want to move, you don't want to go anywhere. Because it's so deep, it's so cellularly and DNA, it's so profound. I want to thank all of you for listening tonight and for participating in the class. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and also if you're listening to us on Patreon, thank you for your support, and I will speak to you next week. Thank you, everyone. I love you so much, family. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Love you all.